Welcome back, everybody. I'm JDeMonkey. We're back here in Rust. We're talking about Rust Console Edition base designs, more specifically, oh, there's a boat. More specifically, solo base designs, and this is the Arrow Vault base build. Again, specifically focused at the Rust Console Edition. We are here on the PC as it is a bit easier because I can fly around and show you cutaways and stuff like that. But this is the base here in its final form, and we call it a vault base for a couple reasons, but here, let me go over the name first. The Arrow, it's called the Arrow because in its cutaway form, I'm going to go ahead and fly here and use my admin powers. It is exactly an arrow. So if you're ever out there playing Rust Console Edition, I'm sure there's plenty of solo players, and you're like, man, it's really nasty when I can only gather so many resources and I keep just getting absolutely eradicated. Well, a vault-based design is just that. It is a complete vault. There's no entrance or exit. The only way you can get in or out is by respawning on your sleeping bag itself. And you use drop boxes here on the side. And that's how you move loot inside and out. So the key features here are to have, well, the biggest is to having a sleeping bag, and don't erase it or delete it or whatever, always replace it. But you need to have a drop box. Drop boxes can be found if you're having a hard time finding them out in the wilderness. You can find them over at the bandit camp for 40 scrap. I'm going to take a swig. So you could just buy them outright, and then I would suggest researching them. It is a Workbench level 1 for us currently on the Rust Console Edition. So once you learn it, it'll be 75 scrap. As long as you have a level 1 Workbench, you're good to go. Now, this is tricky. There are some gotchas here for this, and we're going to show you those first, and then we're going to go into the actual base build itself. Actually, you know what? Let's do the tour first. Let's show you what it looks like. All right, so there's many reasons why this is nice for solo players. The upkeep is, let me go ahead and phase into the wall. Beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, whoops, beep, boop. Look at this. 629 metal fragments, 1,500 stone. That is more than doable. Yeah. And this looks like you're poor, but if you can tell, the interior, as we'll look over here again one more time. I'm always going to try to point the nose of this to the top of the screen so you guys can orient yourself, but you can see the whole inner core is metal. So you've got stone, honeycomb, and metal, which is really beefy for a solo player. And the reason why this is solo only is because of the respawning feature inside of, or the vault feature where you have to respawn in your own sleeping bag, and there's literally no other room. And so for that reason, we're going to use wooden locks and stuff. And it's a bit cheaper for solo players. But okay, let me go through the walkthrough. Got a single pass doorway, which you know we're big fans of. Well, I say wood locks, and these already have coated locks, but you can see right here, makes it real nice for coming in and out, so nobody can go deep on you. This is the array where you enter and push things through the wall. This pushes it through, the ones with the 3 lights, and these are how you receive things. Yep, and then you've got this here. At your workbench 2 with a box on the underside, you have 3 furnaces, which are also used for jump up. Again, another garage door as you get them. You have an array here for boxes, a quad. If you go over here, you have another array for more quad boxes. And now you have roof access here at the top. And if you're so inclined and you've got the resources, you got a shotgun trap. So you've got multiple exits here on the top, or I'm sorry, at the bottom, those 2 doors there. You've got the second floor exit, so you can kind of check the peek downs. Or if you're on the roof, I'm going to go ahead and fly up. You can kind of get up here and just look around if you need to and drop down slowly as needed. And if you want to be a solo Chad, I'm going to go ahead and fly here. Oh, the cargo ship. Why must you taunt us? We'll go over here, and if you want to be a super solo Chad and you've got the resources, you can upgrade this with turrets. And this is super OP. Now, just know that when you put turrets up, you're going to pull massive aggro. And that's just know that, you know, like you might want to have a secondary fallback when you do this. But yeah, this is totally doable. You can even just put a turret on top here of your main door and really keep people off of your property. I would suggest if you're solo and you're having a hard time to not maybe go this route initially, and then definitely don't make a compound initially until you see you may need one, because nothing says I have money and come raid me like turrets, metal exteriors, and a compound wall. So keep that in mind. All right. So looking at the arrow here, The most important part of this, again, is going to be this array, the pass-through array. And there are some gotchas with the Dropbox, and we're going to go over those first. You can already see the thickness here and having triangular walls. So I'll show you some examples because it is imperative before we actually get started into the build, because this can make or break the build. And I have done this live on Rust Console Edition, and it is a little hairy because you do have to have these drop boxes that are 200 metal fragments apiece. And you do have to have them pre-crafted. And if you mess these up, the only way to get rid of these is to be within that build cementing phase and to delete the walls, which can be very nerve-wracking if you're on a live server environment, which is currently Rust Console Edition. There is no community server, so you'll be sweating it is what I'm saying. But fear not, once you kind of get this in place, it is very beefy. It's more than doable. You can pop in and out. You can kind of move things around. And so yeah, it's definitely worth it. Now, if you're worried about placing this, and I'm telling you it's going to be a little tricky, try doing this on the end of a wipe maybe, or you know you've got resources to burn to test this out, because you can see just how snug it is. But let's go ahead and go over the Dropbox gotchas real quick over here. And again, this is for Xbox and PlayStation. There is no difference in my mind. We're all the same. Okay, so the thing with the Dropbox is when the side of the wall you place it on is how thick or how far it's going to penetrate the wall. So if you look here, see how if you look at the Dropbox, it's actually quite thick. But if you look at there's like one side's thin, the other side's thick, and that's based off of the side you place it on. So the side you place it on is the thick side. So if I place it here, and I got to make sure it's always important to be looking directly at the wall. I place it like this, now look, that's the thick side. Thick boy, not thick boy, skinny boy, thick boy. And watch, we'll do the same thing. We'll go on this side of the wall, and we'll rotate it. And then we'll do the same thing. Look, this one's thick, that one's thin. That's imperative because we're actually going to try to squeeze as much room as possible on either side. So just know the side that you place it on is going to be the thick side, and we do have to make a clearance. So here's one other little gotcha, and I have this ability to do this here. Another reason why we're doing this on PC. I can actually delete this. You cannot do that on a standard server. You can't even do that on standard PC. Another reason why you want to make sure you're parallel with the wall. Now look, if I place this one straight, it looks like it's straight, right? Like I'll go ahead and get up here. It's pretty straight, right? It's a little crooked. The reason why you want to adjust or practice your placement, now look, this one's going to be crooked. You probably see it better on this side. Oh, maybe not. That's not that bad. That's pretty crooked. You want it consistent because we're going to have so many of these close to each other, so it's important that you learn how to place these straight. Again, if you have the time and resources at the end of a wipe, like, you know, end of the wipe, you got some stuff to blow, go out and test this out. It'll be well worth your time. Now, here's the last gotcha that is super important. Because we're working with triangles, placing these things normally is not a big deal when you're doing just square walls, because there's no, you're not impeded by this side piece here, by this 90-degree angle. You can place it fairly close, just like that, you know, no problem. But with triangles, because it is so tight on the corner, and we'll show you here. Actually, do we have it? I thought I had an example up for this. Oh, yeah, it's right here. Alright, so like, look, if you've got this here, and we have a wall in the back, and we place one of these boxes here, if I go ahead and rotate this, if I kind of just slide over and to the point where it like snaps, that's as far as I can go. And you're like, man, that's not a lot of space. You're right. It's not, but check this out. Actually, let me drop this down one. I'll try to make this fast. Here we go. This is as far as I can go. Now, if I go out here and take this out, and do the same thing, place it just above, it should snap to blue. Now watch, I'm just going to strafe left. See how much further I can go? Like a lot further. Now the difference is, because you can go so far to the edge of the wall, we still need to be able to put this wall back up as we're using the corner. And I've got a couple different techniques for that to help out, but you can see why having it in the triangle is very cost effective, but it can be a little tricky. And now you can see why we've got the skinny boy and thick boy side to really help us out. Well, A, for room inside of the vault itself, but also to make sure that you fit these corners. So when we go over this, it's imperative that we work these corners correctly. And then look, I actually didn't place this one correct because you can see that I can't place a wall here. So again, another reason why this is very important to make sure you get this right ahead of time. And the only way we have to adjust this, let's say you set something up incorrectly on the wall, and this is going to be costly. Let's say you're out there in the wild, and you got to do this while people are trying to kill you in game. The only way to fix this is to go and delete the whole wall, so you lose the Dropbox and the wall. So, like I said, it's tricky. I've got a few steps that'll help you out with that. So again, we're going to go right over there and start the build, but just know that if you mess up those steps, you can always delete the wall, but make sure you're doing it well within the cementing phase, which is roughly 10 minutes. And let's go ahead and find a spot over here. I think this one will be pretty good. All right, so I'm always going to try to keep the arrow pointing in this direction so they all kind of line up. Actually, I kind of, you know what, I didn't do that because this one's facing the wrong way. We'll try to face it this way. All right, so you start off with a triangle. This is the center of the vault. You're going to add the back pieces of the triangle, and here's the top. So the arrow will eventually be pointing in this direction. So what I like to do right away is go right to stone immediately. Again, this is where we started. If you place corner walls here, again, looking straight forward, you can then upgrade these. The reason why you want to just do these first, and the order does matter, ignore my super stacks. You want to rotate your TC to the knobs being to the left. Now, if you look closely, I'm going to try to push this in the corner as far as possible. And I know it's nerve-wracking when you're playing on a live server, especially when you know you got a bunch of materials. You see how I was able to push this back in the corner super far? And look at that. Now, the first thing you want to do, because I'm telling you, you're going to be getting shot at and stuff, if you lose everything, make sure you slap the lock on and it stays green. Don't make a key. At least if you get sniped out or whatever, you can come back here and still continue the build. It's important you leave it just like this, and it's snug against the corner. Let me go ahead and fly here for a sec so you can see this. I would even recommend, if you have a few supplies, put a few inside of your tool cupboard initially, so if you do get popped, at least you got a few seconds to like a minute or two to come back and maybe save it. It's not going to be the end-all be-all, but you need to be aware of it. Okay, now here's the array grid. This is the most important part again. So you want to have a triangle foundation. You want to place it right here. Then you want to place a twig wall here. You want to make sure you have at least 4 of these drop boxes. And here's the trick. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add an extra foundation here and here. And again, the clock's ticking because we just placed the tool cupboard. I like to place it like this because we're going to be parallel with this, and I don't want to be falling off the edge of this corner piece here. All right, so now you have this out here. We need 2 of them facing you and 2 of them facing the other way, so you can pass things through the wall. That's key. So here's what I'm talking about by practicing this, because again, we need this snug. We need the walls to be buildable on both this side here when we're done, right here where it's blue, and also right here, whoops, right here when we're done. And we need to be able to place a wall here, or at least a doorway. So here's how it goes. Okay, so start with the one facing you. Remember, this is going to be the thick boy side. I like to get it close to the edge. And if you're looking at this triangle piece right here, see the one that's glowing? See how we have like a thick border there? And then there's like the inset that's like a plywoodish. That's that thick line we're going to be avoiding, that thicker border piece, the logs, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down, make sure the 3 dots are facing me, make sure I'm parallel with the wall. I crouch. I bring it down to the floor where it snaps, and now you have a better idea. See how the corner is really close to the log? That will probably do for this corner, and that's quite literally like how close that is to the twig, and that's or to the edge of the wall. So what you want to do is, when that distance, if you're looking at the triangle piece I'm on and where this is sitting, that's a good distance. At least I hope it is, right? So what you want to do now is look up slightly so it comes off the bottom, right? Just going up and down with your thumbstick, and then hit place. Oh, that might be super. See how close that is to the edge? Let me go ahead and get rid of this. We got to be quick, because if we mess this up, we're going to have to delete this wall. So, look. Okay, so that's blue. That's a good sign. And, well, we don't have that one placed yet. So what this becomes is this becomes your, like, angle piece. So now what you want to do is you want to reverse the top, and then using the same technique, well, now that this is already lined up, remember, the thick boy side is the side you're looking at. See how I put them on top of the stack and they should be lined up? Again, checking the side to make sure it's good. And on this side, you need to make sure it's good as well, because remember, we're going to have a tight corner. So blue is good. And now if you have the money, come over here, reverse it one more time. Remember, get it close to the bottom and then bring it up just a little bit, and now strafe to the block. You see, I might have been off a little bit. See how I've got like a wedge, but that might be enough. See how this is still off the corner? So we're good here. Oh. Okay, yeah, we're good. I saw red. I was like, oh, no. So now what you do is, this should be good. You should solidify the wall. Remember to reverse this, because we need 2 in and 2 out. Get it right in the corner to where it snaps. And now you should be good. Now get back inside and start doing these inner pieces as quickly as you can. This is what I do. And again, because this isn't a live server, if you get shot, you're going to have to just come back. So, and again, you always want to make sure there's a bag outside as well. Hopefully this isn't terribly jumbled. Now you want to make sure you've got the rest of your walls set up here. Hopefully I do this in the right order, because I messed this up once or twice live. All right, see how this inset's working here? Perfect, right? Now, what we want to do is create the inner shelf. So create a half wall here, then your triangle piece, then come up here with the hammer, hold your action button, and then get rid of it. Make that a shelf. Now, here's the other tricky part. You can jump up on these edges here. These are going to be the honeycomb, and we're going to do the similar thing. So we're going to place this here, and again, we're going to put a piece here in the middle to kind of use as balance, and we're going to do the same idea. These are always going to be facing in. So the 3 dots, the green dots, that'll be that represents the outside. You want to make sure this is always, because these are always going to be ins, okay, on this side. Let me go ahead and detach my camera real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see the tool cupboard. Sorry, I got to readjust. See the tool cupboard right there? See the ray just in front of us? Just so you know. Okay. So what you want to do here is, this one's a bit easier, as we can bring it down almost to the bottom here, and then we can strafe over to the right. Or I'm sorry, that's left. Hello. And then bring it down to the floor, and then bring it up just a little bit so you're not totally on the bottom. That's good. And again, if you mess these up, you got to be within that cementing phase to erase the entire wall. And then bring this one down as the top stack. Now double check the walls to make sure you can still place, because this needs to be honeycomb at some point. Okay, so that one's clean. Now, the next one's a little bit tricky. I'm going to detach the camera because we're going to be split between this shelf unit here. Okay? So I'm going to reattach. We're going to bring this out. This one's tricky. So what we want to do is we want to get down low. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Before we do this, let me go ahead and jump back inside. Actually, to jump back inside quickly, let me go ahead and not use my admin tools. Half wall here, and then jump up. Oh, man, I almost forgot this. Okay, my bad. Oh, sorry. What you want to do up here real quick is you want a large box with a buckle facing you. Give it a crouch, get it flat against the wall, and kind of crouch your way into the corner to make sure it's kissing that back wall. There we go. What that's going to do is that's going to give us like a gauge for this, because this drop box won't place on top of it on the exterior. So my bad, I forgot to put that in place. Let's go ahead and do this one now too. And I rotate it, buckle out, and get it right in the wedge here. All right, so this is going to give us the outer extents. Okay, hammer quick. Now what you want to do, again, 3 circles facing you. See how it just turned green? I want to bring it down to the frame to make sure it's going to clear that wooden thick frame on this piece that's glowing blue. You see what I mean by tricky? And then you kind of bring it down where it touches the frame, where it snaps, and then bring it up just a little bit, and you should be good. Now, go directly above this. You're going to stand up now and watch. It's not going to be immediately blue because there's a shelf there, but keep going. Sometimes you have to move a little bit, and then right there it's blue. You're clean on both sides. Bring it down to where it snaps. See how it's like sticking? Now place it. Now it's imperative you get in there and check to make sure, because if anything's broken, this is your only saving grace. Otherwise, you botch the whole build. And I've done it. So go ahead and check these side pieces real quick to make sure these all place correctly. We're good to go. Now we can get rid of this. We'll leave this for the jump in for now, I guess. Now what you can do is go inside quickly, because again, you're super exposed. Now what you can do is place this box here, buckle to the right, and see how we have it parallel to the other one. We can kind of push it right up on that drop box piece. And here's what's really cool. And again, we're not sealing it up yet. We're going to place a triangle here, and place a small box here. And now you can delete this. Bingo. And let me just double check to make sure I'm not sealing myself in the wrong way here. Okay, now what you can do is seal the top. Make sure you have a sleeping bag with you. If you do not, this is going to fail in a spectacular way. Now you can seal yourself in if you have a lot of people outside. And let's be honest, if it's wipe day on console edition, unofficial, you know what I'm talking about. Weeklies or monthlies are all insanity. Now what you want to do is you want to get right up to the edge of this tool cupboard. You want to make sure your sleeping bag is here. And again, if you forgot it, get your hammer out and delete this and jump out, okay? Because otherwise you've just sealed yourself in forever. Now you're going to place this sleeping bag down here, and it's overlapped because I have other builds around me, and then call this one core, and make sure you always leave it there. If you pick it up, make sure you've got a checklist to put it back immediately. Now what we can do here is we can place a little furnace, which does come in handy. And believe it or not, you can fit a level 2 in here, but what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and use my admin powers. We're going to make a level 3, and now we're going to put it right here. And believe it or not, look at this. Oh, yeah, you can fit a level 3 in there. Now, don't forget your little tiny box. And now that we've got the update where we can pick up workbenches, that'll make things a bit easier. But you do kind of want to leave your level 3 in here. Maybe a level 2, and then leave your level 1 outside. So now, how this works is, the only way you can put things in is by using these drop boxes and then force respawning yourself and then coming back outside. So another key thing to do is to make sure you place the sleeping bag in the area. Let me go ahead and fly over here. So you would place something that's not orange. Make sure that it's blue. Sorry. Wow. Okay, you gotta make sure it's blue and call it like, I don't know, shore or something. Shore, dude. So you gotta place the spawn outside just in case. So that's imperative. Now, your bunker is coming along. So what's really cool about this design is, even if you're hanging in the wind and this is all you could afford, you've still got all these great points to throw things in. And again, because you've got a little bit of lift off of the foundation, even if these get destroyed here, you're able to put another foundation right there. Watch, hopefully that works. There you go. And that's another reason why you float these just above the foundation there. So we can go ahead and get rid of this because I don't think we need to oh, am I stuck? We don't need to jump up on this anymore, and we're sealed. So remember, a vault is primarily based off of drop boxes and your ability to spawn on the interior. So this is another reason why this is solo only. Now, going for the exterior, if you have a chance. Oh wait, no, did I say this? So what you can do is, if you're under fire a lot, you can run up to these boxes and deposit things quickly. And then even if you get smoked, you're still able to farm quickly and like deposit things on the interior, which makes it super powerful for solo. Because let's be honest, if you're solo, you're getting your cheeks worked, right? Okay, so if you have the your next set of materials, I'm going to take another swig here. Actually, let me go ahead and fly up. Let me face this direction while I take a swig so you guys can get a reference as to what we're looking at. It's not an arrow looking yet, but it will be, I promise. Yeah! Oh, that's a good point to say if you do enjoy this. Be sure to drop a like. It does help out quite a bit if you think this is something you'd like to watch in the future. As we do stream quite heavily Rust Console Edition, you'll be notified of that and videos when they come out. You know, drop a subscribe and turn on those notifications. And if you're not a solo player, might I suggest the 2x3 build. I will go ahead and link that now in the upper right hand corner. Good for 1, 2, or 3 players. I guess you could squeeze in 4, but it's a good starter. It's definitely going to get you on your feet. So, you know, if this one's not your cup of tea, if you have more than one person, go check that out. Okay. Now with your tools outside, go ahead and fill these in. And what's really cool is, if you can afford this, you can put a little lock thing here, put a frame here, and then you can put a double door, whether it's wood or whatever. So it kind of gives you a little bit of coverage if you're getting absolutely just, you know, because it takes a second to put things in. And if you're trying to take things out, you need some kind of cover. Not the best, but it's something. And then what I would suggest doing is getting your door frame here first, then your other wall here, placing that. And then we're just going to go right through regular doors. We're going to have this one open outward. And put a wooden lock on. Remember, don't ever make keys. They're bad news. That way it kind of gives you like an airlock. I know the top is open here, but it should give you some kind of, you know, like a little bit of coverage. Because I know it's all about skimpy resources in the beginning. Believe you me, I know. And what you can do, I would suggest getting this up and running as quickly as possible. Your single pass-through doorway, as it is going to save you on many occasions. And what I like to do is, if you can afford it, just use wooden doors here. As long as you've got some sheet metal in the way, because think about it, you're not protecting too much at the moment. Everything is in the core, right? So, you know, you're good, right? You're good. You could put wooden doors on the outside, and it kind of says, hey, I'm a scrub, don't raid me. So, but for the argument's sake, we're just going to put metal down real quick. And make sure these open inward. Again, single pass-through doorways are OP. It gives you 2 ways out. And it stops people from running deep on you, and that's imperative when you're playing solo. Now, as soon as you can afford furnaces, I know that's going to be the next big thing. Even if it's just one, push it to the back corner, like so. And you'll be able to get to your roof, which helps in the beginning, especially if you get door camped. We always get door camped. As soon as you can afford this piece, go ahead and lock this in. And let's go ahead and get a wall frame in place and get you locked up here. Now, I tell people if you've got a level 1 or a level 2, in this case we'll use the level 1, you can put it right here in this back corner. As a matter of fact, I think I need to put the door. You have to, I'm just deleting it here, which you cannot do, official. But you can place it like so. Or no, you put the door first. You know what? Let's just upgrade this. Let's say we have a garage door. You don't have to necessarily have a door here. We're just going to slap this up. But what you can do is once that's in place, you can stick a workbench here. And thank goodness we can pick them up now. This will hang out a little bit, but again, because of the way this works, it's not going to be a huge deal. And level 2s and ups, you can put a little small guy down here, which is good for storage. Just make sure it's out of the way of the boxes. But you see, you can still access these just fine. These are your outs. These are your ins. Again, you can use a double door if you can afford it. And for this side, we'll do just that. We'll put a little lock here. So this way, if you need to get upstairs, you're not going to get completely like door camped. And now we're going to be adding to the second floor. But you know what? Before we do that, here's a little modification you could do on the side here. This is what I did. I made these stone for honeycomb. A little lid on top. You don't have to do this, but I found this quite helpful when I did do this. Bring up the doorway here. And just put like a wooden doorway here. I'm going to put a metal here because that's all I have spawned in. But this way you can run up, close the door, and deposit things quickly and then leave when you need to. You know, it helps. Or you can just leave it wide open. Just saying. It's a nice thing to do. If you're really getting ripped hard, do it. Okay, so again, you got these side points to put in. Let's go upstairs. Now, this is going to be the second floor. It's good to get a lot of this flushed out as quickly as possible. So this will be your jump up. There will be 3 furnaces in here at some point. Let's see if we can fit them all in here. Pretty sure I can. And then let's say you upgraded and now you've got garage doors. Because then, if you didn't, you would have to have one back there because that's the only way you would fit. But I know these come slowly sometimes, so add them as you need them. So again, you don't want to use these furnaces too much until you've got this plugged up. Okay, so this is going to be your exit to your little ledge off your front door. Oh, that scared me. So you want to get some sort of swing door here if you can afford it. I know, it's all about cost, right? Have it swing out for this example, argument's sake. And now let's get this frame. Sometimes I have a hard time filling this in or getting a wall here, so I just do that with twig, do the wall here, and then erase this quickly. Again, on the console version, make sure you're very judicious when you have your hammer out, because pressing, was it triangle, or square, or X on the Xbox can upgrade things automatically. It's something we don't have on PC version, and I know it's a big gotcha for me when I play the console edition, so just be careful. What we want to do here is we're making a diagonal piece as we come up. So right here, this will be the storage. It's kind of like a trapezoid. Is that right? Parallelogram. Parallelogram. Show you what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and detach the camera so you can see what I'm talking about. And again, this is where I'm just facing in the same direction. So that'll become storage. I'll go ahead and reattach. Grade to stone, again, when you can afford it. Little shelf here. Raise that, make that stone, again, when you can afford it. What I like to do up here, because a lot of times you can't afford this in the first run because it's just you. I like to leave it open like this, and then leave at least one shelf so you can kind of get up and like do some work if you need to. And again, as you can afford it. Because this next piece, when you actually stick on the roof, you're going to need a fair amount of stone to finish it. And this leaves you a little bit vulnerable, but remember, it's all about this inner core. Let me go ahead and... As long as you're putting stuff in here, you are good to go. See how these inner walls, just like you just pick them up, grab them. Got an indoor furnace so you can cook things. You just have to be a little judicious with how you're moving your resources around, but for the most part, you should be good to go. All right, so let's go ahead and lay down some of these here. Get back on the ground so it's more realistic for us, right? We can't fly around in this game like that. That's crazy. And then I like to rotate these buckle in and get this against the wall, push it back, rotate, buckle in the other way. And then wall frame, get my hammer. You know what I need to do? Because these are super stacks, I gotta move them like that, okay. And then, I should put the roof on first, but could cross jump up here. Get it. And then really, you could even put a swing door here if you can't afford anything else. I'm going to put garage doors probably for the rest, but I like to put regular doors until I can afford these, because these are 302 gears a pop. I mean, that's expensive even when you're going big group, you know? Gears equate to defense, you know what I mean? Oh, am I stuck? And again, this one's a little weird. This next section is going to cost a bit of stone to rope off. This will be your jump up eventually. Careful not to seal it up. It's good to do a lot of these in your cementing phase, so if you mess something up, you can go back and get it. And again, if this is going too fast and you need like, hey, I'm not really sure what you're talking about, you need more of a beginner's standpoint, I have a beginner's building guide. I will go ahead and link that now in the upper right-hand corner. If you want to go check that out. That was a nasty burp. There we go. Buckle in. And I know when I'm doing this, sometimes it takes me a while to save up enough metal fragments just to do not only the doors, but these boxes, right? Oopsie. And what I like to put outside of the vaults are less important things like grub gear, stuff like that. It helps a lot. I'm going to put a half wall here and a full wall there. We're going to erase this and then make that stone so we can jump up. And then when you can afford it, I'm going to put a wall frame here. I know this is expensive. Only put down what you need to. And then, honestly, if it's really a problem, like right here, and you need like a way to lock this off, don't put this frame here and just make this like wood or something, right? So at least you've got some kind of protection to like jump up, and then maybe use this back room first, if that makes sense, before you use this front one. And that way you're kind of covered when you jump up. I guess you would have to, you know what? Scratch that. This would have to be the roller boy. Yeah, it would be this one. But remember, roller boys take forever to open. Like I said, you're pretty vulnerable in this state, so you really want to make sure you're doing it all in one shot. Really? I'm just showing you that's an option. Ideally, you want this to all be locked in, like this. It'd be nice if you just spawn doors like that. Just remember, when you're going up to the top, you want to make sure these doors are closed. It's much easier to manage when you're a solo player. And the top's pretty basic. I use this as a cap so we can make our little piece here. Make another cap. We're going to erase this bottom twig. We're going to make this piece over on the side. And then frame, and then make this a swing door because it's easier to manage. And because we have so many garage doors down here, I would highly recommend, let me go ahead and spawn one in. Dee-lee-lee-loop. Where are you, Mr. Trap? There we go. This one there. It's not going to be the best, but it'll get the job done. That way at least you can get to your rooftop and like do some work if you need to. There you go. Check it out. It's not that bad, right? The upkeep is definitely doable. So because I don't want to wax my character, I'm just going to phase through the wall, but you've got your in and outs here. You have to force respawn yourself on the interior, but this is very doable. You have enough boxes here as a solo player. I would put things like crafted GP, high-end weapons. Spillover weapons have to go to the exterior. You can use these as storage once you do make the honeycomb on the exterior. You can use these as endpoints as you're starting to go around, but let me go ahead and work up these points here. These will be the honeycomb. And we're going to show you the upgrade phase for this. Now again, only when you have enough materials to do this, both stone and metal, you can do this. So yeah, once you've kind of used this and deposited a lot of stuff, you can just make that stone. Make sure it's always hard side out. There you go. And on this side, you're going to do your 2 additional honeycomb pieces. Now what's cool is when you do place this, you can make the interior metal. Just remember, the biggest thing that gives people away, because a lot of people come up to me and say, hey man, I get raided a lot as a solo. I was like, just look less worth it to raid. So when you hide your metal and stone, it really helps keep you low key. And again, even if you have those front doors as wood, this is not a huge deal to have this as wood here. That would really throw people off to be like, man, these guys, they can't even afford metal doors, right? So this is what it looks like now. I'm going to go ahead and fly up so you can see it. And if you look, it's maybe a stretch now because I'm harder to see, but look, if you go straight up, it's an arrow. The arrow vault. Do you see it? No way? Ta-da! Alright, so let's go on the interior. We're going to go ahead and phase in as if we respawned. Once you've cooked up enough once you've cooked up enough metal, you can start to upgrade the interior. Hopefully I can do this quickly. And then when you're really rich, like you've got 3 full stacks, possibly 4 full stacks of high quality, you can maybe think about, and again, be cautious with it because you're committing to that upkeep cost. You could go big boy status and armor this sucker up, and you're talking, that's some serious cheese to be putting down. Alright, I was hoping I could get the rest of this here. So if you do have to upgrade this and you have to pick up your bag, just remember you gotta put it back down. For this one, you're gonna have to pick up that box, I think. Let me see. Yeah. That got it? Yeah. Technically, you don't have to do that inner square right there. I destroyed the box because I have that ability here. Let's say we picked up this bench. Look at this. Put another way and put the same box right there. And then, can we get to this one here? Come on, buddy. Guess we'll pick you up too, huh? Oh, I dropped on the floor. Come on. Yeah, because that inner triangle does not have to be upgraded, which is kind of nice. I'll go ahead and put this right back here. Come on. There's our little guy. Put it in there. Boop. I do it where I try not to pick up the bag because if you forget, then you've lost your whole base. So it's that mission critical. Then what I like to do is I keep enough wood on hand, pass it through, and make sure this furnace is going full blast. I know it's not great, but you do have these guys outside the wall here to do the heavy lifting. And then when these are processed, you can always push them through the wall here, which makes it very viable for a solo player. And think about this, if you're feeling pretty beefy, you can always move into a 2x3 or a 2x2 from here, and this can be like your straight up vault, exactly what it says, and keep a lot of your stuff here, because the more you space yourself out as a solo player, the more chances you have of survival. And then people don't necessarily know where your main loot's at, you know what I mean? And here is the floor plan, so you guys can see what that looks like. So that is the solo vault base, the Arrow bunker for Rust Console Edition for 2021. Again, for PlayStation, Xbox, and the next gens. This can also be used on PC too, but this is based off of core mechanics of the game and no exploits, so the likelihood of this getting quote-unquote patched out is very unlikely, so this should be tried and true for a very long time, no matter what game or platform you're playing on. Well, it has to be Rust. But I guess there's 2, right? There's Rust Console Edition and Rust. But anyways, so yes, this is the Arrow Vault Base for the Rust Console Edition. So again, if you found it useful and helpful, be sure to drop a like. We got plenty more of these. We got playlists all up and down to help new players. And you know, if you're not solo, we have plenty of bases for that too. Like a big group base that has been quite successful is the Terrapin. I will go ahead and link that now in the upper right-hand corner. It's modular. It can be a water base, a ground base. You can make adjustments to it. So if you're worried about people knowing what the blueprints are, and you know, people rating it, you can make those adjustments to make it even tankier. We've had many people from the channel use it and say they love it. We've used it many times, and it's a beefy boy. It's a thick boy. So go ahead and check them out, and hopefully we'll see you in the next live stream / video. We'll see you in the next one. Bye! Yeah! The Terrapin. I mean, no, just kidding. This is the Arrow. I mean, the Terrapin's good. You know what I mean.